Hello, it's Ashley again, and the last time that we were talking was during the course of the presidential election, and I was telling you my views as a young millennial female member of the Republican Party. And this was back when nobody thought that Donald Trump was going to actually win the presidency. They were wrong, and so was I, and he did. And so, first of all, I have to say that wanting Donald Trump to fail is like wanting a ship that we're all sailing on to go down. So, I hope that he has a successful presidency. I have not seen that yet, but I am still hoping that it turns around. Um, and there are so many issues that have come up during the first weeks of his presidency to address that it would take several videos to do so. And of course, I'll keep making videos and address a lot of my views on those things as they come up. But I'm going to start with what's been called the Muslim ban. And Muslim ban, not the Muslim band. So, the reason that I'm addressing this issue instead of the multiple women's rights issues that, of course, affect me personally is because I am not an immigrant. My fiance is from South Africa, but I am adopted. And the reason that matters is I had no idea what my cultural heritage was until someone got me a DNA test result where you swab your mouth and send in a sample for them to tell you where you're from. And the results of that test were interesting and surprising. I thought I knew a little bit about my cultural background, but I was wrong. And first off, I'm predominantly Western European, mostly Irish, and that is what most of my genetic makeup is made out of. However, I was surprised to find that some of my ancestry comes from Northern Africa, just a splash of Central Asia. So from Northern Africa, countries like Morocco, Algeria, or Libya are likely where some of my ancestors are from. And just Central Asia, Kazakhstan, Afghanistan, that area of the world is where I likely share some genetic DNA. So I thought that was very interesting because of the 7 countries listed on Trump's what's been called the Muslim ban are Iraq, Iran, Syria, Yemen, the Sudan, Libya, and Somalia. And if you think that you heard some similarities in the countries where my ancestry could be from and the lists which are banned from immigrating to America currently, you'd be correct. And I find that very fascinating as a Christian woman from Fort Worth, Texas, because it's interesting to share some commonality with a group of people who are currently being banned from this issue, if only in DNA. I found it horrifying to begin with because from what I understand and from what I have consumed from the media, none of these countries have ever had a terrorist. Let me rephrase that. There has never been a terrorist whose national origin or whose nationality is one of these 7 countries, from what I understand. Now, I do understand that the list was compiled by the Obama administration, and that being said, it's still whoever compiled it, Democrat, Republican, nonpartisan agency. It doesn't really matter to me. I still see no reason why these 7 countries, no clear reason that's been told to me, and that could just be my own ignorance, members from these countries have been banned. And that includes citizens of those countries, dual citizens unless they have a valid passport from a non-banned country. And that has actually affected some people who have dual citizenship in places like England and one of the 7 countries. They've not been allowed to come to America. Refugees from around the world have been affected, and green card holders from the banned countries. That means people who've gone through the process to get a green card would now not have been allowed into the country. And this ban has been found to be invalid by several of our courts. And one of the reasons that I think that is interesting is not only is it one of those rare moments where only nerds like me care, where the judiciary, which is what I'm studying law, so I find that fascinating. It checks the executive branch and their power, but also the social effect that it's had. So when the ban went into place, there was mass chaos in the airports because people who expected no issue coming into the country were all of a sudden banned. And the solidarity that was shown by all people of America, what not all people, but multiple people who were not personally affected by this ban was fascinating. There were Caucasian women who were wearing scarves over their head as hijabs. Forgive me if I'm messing up that word. I mean that word respectfully, and fully respect the Muslim faith. And there were people who cheered and protected Muslims as they prayed during their prayer hour in airports openly, and that's something that you would have never thought that you would have seen. And again, as a Christian Caucasian appearing female from the great state of Texas, I have to say that I find it very endearing, and I am very proud to be an American where in a country where people can disagree and can stand up for each other's rights when they feel that when they feel that those rights are being taken away for reasons that are improper, such as faith. I've been asked about this multiple times, both in my horror at the fact that those of the Muslim faith have been discriminated against, also with the LGBTQ community, etc. That my own personal beliefs and my own personal religion should not affect those around me. And I think that that's the beauty of being an American, is that we live in a country where we don't have to agree with each other, but we do need to be respectful. And so there are a few good things that have come from Trump's presidency, and that is that the people of America are standing together to say you can't take, even if we don't agree, you can't take away the rights given to us by the Constitution. And one of those was freedom of religion. And with that being said, God bless everyone, and I hope to speak with you again about these issues, and I hope that you have a great night. Hopefully we meet on a more positive note with President Trump in this next video, because I really do hope that man has an amazing presidency, and that this country really sees some great things for everyone, and that means everyone of race, religion, creed, sexual orientation, or gender identity. That being said, have a good night.